Welcome, everyone. It is Monday again. I am AnnaLee Dragon, director of the Kinderhook Memorial Library, and this week we're talking Inspiration Monday. So this talk is actually inspired by a conversation I had with a few patrons about a week ago. They came in looking for some books by Brené Brown, who is one of my favorites. Surprisingly, I didn't have any in the library, which I am correcting as we speak. But we got on the topic of those sorts of books, which are, I would argue, inspirational, motivational, aspirational, all of those things. And so I had a bunch of other suggestions for them, and we got into a really great conversation about, trying to be our best selves and make the most of our lives and really appreciate what we have and find our inner strength and go after the things we want. And it was just such a great talk that I was like, this is A, why I love being a librarian, and B, what a great book talk this would be. So I have 5 or 6 suggestions today, some of which I discussed with that patron and some I did not. So hopefully she'll watch this and she'll get some other ideas if the ones I suggested don't work. All of these books are available in the library system, and we're going to do the thing that I do where I put up a cover and then I talk about the book, and I do that for each one, and at the end I will put all of the covers again so you can catch up if you missed any, and you can start requesting and start being inspired, hopefully. I love each and every one of these books, and I hope that they offer you the same lightness and strength and power that they have offered to me at different points in my life when I really needed it. So let's get started. The first book you saw there is by Glennon Doyle, who is a big name in these types of books. She writes memoirs, but they are very motivational and inspirational. I first heard of her through Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which is a book I love and was inspirational to me. And so she recommended Glennon, and I have not stopped reading her since. So this book, Untamed, is in our collection. As I said, they're all available in the Mid-Hudson system. Some of them I have here and some aren't here, but they're available to you very easily by requesting them. And some of them are available through Hoopla online or Overdrive if you want an ebook or a downloadable audiobook as well. So Untamed is her most revealing and powerful memoir yet, according to the blurb. She is an activist, a speaker, a best-selling author, and some people refer to her as the patron saint of female empowerment. So love that. And she explores the joy and peace we discover when we stop striving to meet others' expectations and start trusting the voice deep within us. I think that is a common thread with these books, which is that our inner gut, our lizard brain, knows what to do. We just ignore it too often. And so it's really about listening to our inner selves, about what we need, what we want, what we're hoping for, and stop worrying about other people is the other thread, right? Comparison is the thief of joy. So instead of worrying about what everybody else is doing, worry about what you want and what you're doing, and stop comparing yourself. There is no grand scheme measurement chart that we're all being given stars based off of. Your life is your life, and as long as it's fulfilling and happy and joyous and all of the things that you want it to be, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And I think Glennon really captures that. So this was, at the time it was written, which was a few years ago, named one of the best books by Oprah's magazine, The Washington Post, Cosmopolitan, Marie Claire. It said that it will liberate women emotionally, spiritually, and physically, and that it's phenomenal. And that quote was from Elizabeth Gilbert from Eat, Pray, Love, as I mentioned. So it's just saying that we strive so hard to be good partners and daughters and mothers and employees and friends. But we hope that all of this will make us feel alive, but really it can make us tired and overwhelmed and underwhelmed at the same time and stuck. And so the idea is that you're going to be listening to your inner voice and find your true passions and let the rest of it fall away so that you can really enjoy the life that is given to you. So Untamed by Glennon Doyle is the first book I wanted to discuss. Now on to the next. So out of the Brené Brown canon, there are a large number of books, and I have read many of them, and I chose this one because I think it speaks best to this particular situation. I've read Daring to Lead by her, which was more about leadership in the workplace and in life, and I thought this one, Braving the Wilderness, the quest for true belonging and the courage to stand alone, best fit the kind of subject matter the theme that we're working on today. So Brené Brown says that true belonging doesn't require us to change who we are. It requires us to be who we are. And so this has sparked a global conversation about the experiences that bring meaning to our lives, experiences of courage, vulnerability, which is a major theme with Brene, love, belonging, shame, empathy. And in this book, Brown redefines what it means to truly belong in an age of increased polarization. With her trademark mix of research, storytelling, and honesty, Brown will again change the cultural conversation while mapping a clear path to true belonging. If you haven't read a Brene Brown book too, there are TED Talks that she has done that are just phenomenal about the idea of vulnerability and putting ourselves out there and showing up for life. And to me, life-changing, made a big difference, tells me all the things that I need to hear. I think we know a lot of this stuff intellectually and we think about it for other people, but we're not always good at applying it to ourselves. I know that's my issue. I honestly and wholeheartedly think all of these things for others, but I'm bad at putting it for myself, making these priorities for myself. So if that is you, I would also argue that there is some amount of women are socialized in a certain way that makes us caregivers and worried about other people. And some of these books are really about bringing it back to, you can't be a great caregiver for anybody else if you're not caring for yourself first. So Braving the Wilderness is the book I chose for this, but if you've read that one, any Brene Brown book will do this for you. It will give you so much fire and power, and you'll feel so ready to go take on life and change the way you're thinking and doing things. She's phenomenal. Some people just have that, je ne sais quoi, and I think she does. She is just an inspirational person, and so any book by her will do, but I chose Braving the Wilderness. Okay, I have a few more for you. So this book is my newest discovery. I am just listening to this. I had a good friend recommend it to me, and I just downloaded it from Hoopla to listen to. It's called The Body is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. And she is phenomenal. I am loving this book, and I hope that you will also enjoy it. So it was a New York Times bestseller, and the quote is, "To build a world that works for everyone, we must first make the radical decision to love every facet of ourselves. The body is not an apology" is the mantra we should all embrace. And that was a Kimberly Crenshaw, a legal scholar and founder and executive director of African American Policy Forum, said that quote about this book. So humans are a varied and divergent bunch with all manner of beliefs, morals, and bodies. Systems of oppression thrive off our inability to make peace with difference and injure the relationship we have with our own bodies. So The Body is Not an Apology offers radical self-love as the balm to heal the wounds inflicted by these violent systems. So she is a world-renowned activist and poet, and she invites us to reconnect with the radical origins of our minds and bodies and celebrate our collective enduring strength. And she does a really neat thing in the beginning of the book where she separates self-esteem from radical self-love, in that they're not the same thing. We can get self-esteem from a number of things. It's not the same thing as radical self-love. Radical self-love is really loving who you are in this moment, not who you will be, not someday, not when I do X, Y, or Z, right now. And her argument is that when we do that, it changes everything. And I feel like she does talk a lot about body positivity a lot in all shapes and sizes, because our culture is very focused on people's appearances. So that is a major theme in it, but it's not just that. It's about loving yourself for being who you are, whether that's loud and opinionated and you've been told to shrink and be quiet, whether, whatever it is, it's embracing who you truly are and loving yourself there. And that's the beginning of everything else, in her opinion. And I'm halfway through it. I'm loving it. So if you are looking for just a reminder of some of these things and you haven't, this is a newer book. This is a second edition. So it has been published before, but if you haven't read it yet, I highly suggest you pick it up. Okay, let's keep going. So if you've listened to my talks, my original book talk, which was, 60 plus book talks ago, was about a Pema Chodron book called When Things Fall Apart. She is a Buddhist monk. I adore her. I find her very readable and approachable in a way that some other Buddhist monk readings like Thich Nhat Hanh is fantastic, but it is a little more academic and a little harder to get through, in my opinion. Pema is very approachable, and I just adore her. And so I am revisiting, but a different book this time. So this book is called Start Where You Are, A Guide to Compassionate Living. And I thought, again, out of all of her books, which she has many, The Places That Scare Us is another one that I love, or Comfortable with Uncertainty, which I still am not. But this book I thought is the best for what we're talking about, because starting where you are is the point, right? Meeting yourself where you are, not looking to be different in order to love yourself and take care of yourself. So Pema Chodron's perennially helpful guide to transforming the pains and difficulties in our lives into opportunities for genuine joy and personal growth. So we all want to be fearless and joyful and fully alive, and we all know that's not as easy as it sounds. We're bombarded every day with false promises of ways to make our lives better. Buy this, go here, eat that, don't do this. The list goes on and on, but Pema shows that until we get to the heart of who we really are and make friends with ourselves, everything we do will always be superficial. And I love too, she does a lot of teaching about loving kindness for everything, including yourself. And again, it's easy to have it for a lot of things. It's not so easy to direct it inward because we are our own worst critics. So I think this is a great book for working on that practice as a meditative practice. If you haven't done it, and really focusing some energy on turning your love inwards so that you are caring for the person you are and not just everybody else. I adore her. I find her, like I said, really readable, really accessible in a way that she introduced me to a lot of Buddhist practice, and I hope that she will do the same for you. I found the book truly inspirational. Okay, I have one more book to end on for this week. All right, here we go. Okay, so again, we're hitting on an author that I have talked about several times and who I adore. Paulo Coelho was a Brazilian author who wrote The Alchemist, is his most famous work. And it did change my life, and I did hand it to the patron who I was having a conversation with last week. But there is a companion book of his that goes along with The Alchemist that I break out. I have underlined and highlighted copy, and I break it out all the time, and I hand it out to people in my life who I feel are looking for some inspiration or some peace. It's called Warrior of the Light, a manual, and it is a companion to The Alchemist. So it says that, Paulo inspired millions of people around the world and became one of the most beloved storytellers with The Alchemist. Now, in the beloved companion to his classic, The Warrior of Light invites us to live our dreams, to embrace the uncertainty of life, and to rise to our own unique destiny. In his inimitable style, he shows readers how to embark upon the way of the warrior, the one who appreciates the miracle of being alive, the one who accepts failure, and the one whose quest leads him to become the person he wants to be. I should say he or she in all of this. We could use some pronoun work there, but it's not just for men. This book is great. It's not a narrative. It's not like a story prose. It is pages that are lessons about being a warrior of light, what that means and what that doesn't. I think many of us would be hesitant to label ourselves as warriors of light because we tend towards humility, and nobody wants to be the person saying, oh, I'm the greatest. But I think the lesson in some of these books is you don't have to say it out loud and be, pushing it into people's faces, but I do think you need to believe it. You need to believe in the greatness of yourself, and you need to go after what you really want in life. And as Paulo tells us in The Alchemist, the universe will conspire to help you when you go after what you truly want in life. So the Warrior of Light is like when I need a quick pick-me-up, I can flip to any one of those lessons, and it really it gives me the goosebumps. It's all of the good lessons wrapped up in these little short passages, so you can just take it at bites instead of reading the whole thing, and it never fails to give me some inspiration and motivation in this direction. So that's the great one to end on this week, I think. So those are all of my favorite Inspiration Monday reads, and I hope that if you haven't read some of them, you pick them up, and I hope if you have, tell me what your other suggestions are, because there are a bunch. I had to cull this down. So I hope you enjoy them. I hope you are doing things in your life that bring you joy. I hope you are appreciating the awesomeness that is you on a regular basis, because I know I look forward to that talk I had with a patron made my entire week. So I hope you have experiences like those every day too, because you are bringing joy to someone whether you realize it or not. Thank you for joining me. I will see you again next week. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. And otherwise, we'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.